the top of the rim. Colorado State wanted goaltending, no whistle. Spot up three. Jeffries got it! Oh, what a big three for Drake Jeffries.
This is Wyoming point guard Hunter Maldonado. And this play is Maldonado's bread and butter, the skip pass to the three-point shooter near the corner. Hunter Maldonado is a 6'7" point guard out of the University of Wyoming, and I had the opportunity to catch up with him at the Portsmouth Invitational. First is Maldonado's finishing ability. On 27% of his possessions, he was a pick-and-roll ball handler because of his excellent ability to navigate through screens. Here's Maldonado with All-American big man Trace Jackson Davis guarding him on the perimeter, and he takes him to the rack for an easy two. Here he is during his redshirt junior year, up against future NBA first-round draft pick David Rowdy. The screen is set, he changes speeds, gets to the basket, draws the and one on Rowdy, and gets to the line. Maldonado also has one of the best post games for a guard I've ever seen at the college level. While NBA teams won't post up with guards quite like Wyoming did with Maldonado, he still demonstrates that he has it in his bag and that he can utilize his post moves to score in a variety of ways. The role I envision Maldonado playing at the NBA level is a big initiator, similar to the role that Delano Banton plays for the Toronto Raptors. Delano Banton wasn't nearly the scorer that Maldonado was at the college level, but as I said, both are jumbo initiators and should be connected pieces at the NBA level. Maldonado is also the Mountain West Conference all-time leader in assists. While Maldonado went through the draft process last year, the biggest concerns NBA teams have was his ability to shoot. However, as his clips demonstrate, he is able to generate plenty of three-point opportunities for his teammates with his ability to pass out of the post or provide skip passes to the corner, just like the first clip of this video. While Maldonado generates plenty of three-point opportunities for his teammates, I envision this skill translating even better at the NBA level, where the floor is far more spaced and the shooters are much more elite. Maldonado also uses the threat of his post game and his ability to pass out of the post, paired with his soft touch at the basket, to get to his mid-range game. The biggest hole in Maldonado's game coming into this season was his ability to shoot. At the Portsmouth Invitational, he knocked down 4 threes in 3 games while helping lead his team to the championship. Coming into this season, Maldonado had 3 consecutive seasons where he shot under 30% from 3, and vastly improved on those numbers as he shot 34% from the 3-point line this season. Maldonado is also pretty versatile on the defensive end of the floor. Here he is guarding San Diego State's Matt Bradley. For those of you who aren't familiar, Matt Bradley was a cog in helping lead San Diego State to the national championship this past season. This is another player on defense of Maldonado's that impresses me. He fights through the screen twice while covering all-conference point guard Isaiah Stevens and makes him force up a tough shot. Oftentimes, Maldonado was tasked with the hardest defensive assignments. As we already saw, he covered San Diego State's Matt Bradley and Colorado State's Isaiah Stevens. He also was tasked with covering Colorado State's David Roddy in the year where Wyoming made March Madness. Finally, you can listen to the Bird Rights podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. My name is Steven Bagell, and I sat down with Hunter Maldonado at the Portsmouth Invitational. All music was produced by Brand the Builder. Thanks for watching. I am here on day 2 at the Portsmouth Invitational with Wyoming's Hunter Maldonado. Hunter, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, there's a few... First of all, how do you think... Obviously, you played last night and your team won. what do you think you showed NBA teams that maybe they didn't know about you? Not only in the aspect of you as a player and your skills, but as a person. So what do you think what are you going to show teams that they may not know? And what do you think, you've already shown them?
Yeah, I think the biggest question mark for me coming into this is whether I can shoot the ball or not.
Yeah, and you hit 2 threes last night.
Yeah, yeah, but I think coming to events like this, obviously, you just got to be who you are. You can't go in and do things you can't do. You got to go in and do what you're good at. And for me, obviously, I try to pass the ball a lot.
Skip passes to the corner, shooter.
Yep, and things like that. And starting off the event with 8 assists, I think kind of shows that and shows it as my strength. As well as, like I said, go out there and shoot the ball. So.
Well, I mean, you just brought up assists, and as everyone who's watching this video already saw the scouting video, you're the all-time assist leader in the Mountain West. So that's, obviously a strength. How do you feel about, the Mountain West, I believe this was the first back-to-back years where they were a 4-bid league in March Madness. And they got the stereotype of a lot of teams didn't do well. Unfortunately, your Wyoming team lost in the first 4. And I believe the 8 teams the last 2 years, they all, unfortunately, were first-round exits. But then all of a sudden, San Diego goes to the national championship. So, the Mountain West is obviously a very competitive league. So how did watching that transpire? You played against those guys. Yeah. Obviously, you covered Matt Bradley a ton. So just how was that watching?
It was fun. It was exciting. We lost to them by, 2 at home. They beat us pretty good on the road by 17. But they're a type of team that plays the right way, and they sit down and guard, and it wins them a lot of games. And like you saw, they were able to make a run, get hot at the right time. But it was exciting. I was cheering for them, especially as you just said. Everybody kind of has that notation that Mountain West team is going to lose the first round, and they did a good job of proving that wrong. So.
Yeah, definitely. So the biggest question I've actually been asking a lot of guys since I've been here is the fact, the transfer portal, how it's essentially turned into NBA free agency in the aspect of, hey, if this isn't the right fit, let me go find what that right fit is. I know you entered the draft process last year, and that's another question I'm going to ask, but why, with so much happening and so much player movement in college basketball, did you decide to stick around in Wyoming? You see your teammate Graham Ike, I know he's in the transfer portal right now. I don't believe he's committed yet, but so what made you want to stick around? Why Wyoming?
Yeah, they're the first one to offer me a scholarship, and so they gave me a chance. And for me, I'm really loyal. I wanted to bring a championship to them, and so sticking was an easy decision. And even coming back, obviously, I set out to win a championship, and we had a really good possibility of that happening before the season and before the injuries and stuff. So
of course,
that's where my head was at, and that's why I chose to go back as well.
And I just said I brought up the draft last year. You sort of went through this process last year, but it was different. Obviously, last year you won a Portsmouth participant. And so what kind of intel, again, I know some things can be said and some can't be, but what was the process like last year as compared to this year where you definitely are not going back to college basketball this year?
Yeah, no, last year they invited me here, but with the NCAA rules, I didn't know if I was able to participate without getting suspended.
Yeah, we saw Courtney Raymond from Arizona.
Yeah, so it was obviously a choice not to come, but still go through the process. And at the end of the day, like I said, biggest question mark is if I can shoot or not, and that was the same echoes last year. Those guys shoot the ball better. And a 4% increase this year, I think, kind of shows I'm on that route and that I can continue to improve and get better in that area.
So what position do you envision yourself playing for an NBA team? Because if I'm not mistaken, your redshirt junior, last year would have been your redshirt junior year. That was the first time you took on the full lead point guard role. So it's okay if you want to say, you're versatile. You're a very versatile big player. You have size. You're big for a point guard. So, but what role and position do you envision yourself on offense and defense at the NBA level?
Yeah, no, I think obviously I got to be one of those guys that comes in to give someone else a blow and get in there and make sure I'm sitting down defensively, hitting open shots when I need to, whether that be on the ball or off the ball, and creating the same advantages I create in college, and being able to score if I need to or pass it. And on defensive end, obviously, be able to match up 1 through probably 3 at the NBA level, guard all those positions, and sit down and defend. So.
And, I mean, on defense, it's been great. I had clips of you covering in Colorado State last year. You had anyone from Isaiah Stevens to David Roddy, who, of course, became a first-round pick with Memphis Grizzlies. I already talked about Matt Bradley. So 1 through 3, definitely. I think you might be able to defend some 4s. You think you could handle that?
I'd be up to it.
Okay, awesome. So, okay, that's all the questions I have. Again, I am at day 2 of the Portsmouth Invitational with Hunter Maldonado from Wyoming. Again, point guard, wing, whatever you want to call him. He's a jack of many trades. So, Hunter, I appreciate you coming on, and thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.